Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Plico. I am a currently diamond 80 carry, Masters 100 LP peak. I've hit Masters about 12 times, all in one season, which was last season. Um, I can prove it. If anybody asks for proof, I can prove that I did hit Masters and that I am indeed diamond. Um, I put up a post on the 80 carry main subreddit yesterday. At the time of recording, at least it was yesterday. Um, and it was basically just to ask if anybody had any questions that they would like answered about the bot lane role as a whole. Um, I myself enjoy learning the game League of Legends, itemizing, macro, micro, all of the above. I just like learning it. I think it's fun. Um, and so there's a lot of people who, may not have access to, people that are higher elo, that have more knowledge about the game. Um, and maybe just some people don't make videos regarding some of these topics that I'll talk about. So I just kind of made a post asking if anybody had any questions that they would like me to answer. And it's kind of like an AMA, like a Q&A kind of thing. So I'm not going to waste a bunch of time. I'm just going to hop right into it. First question. I think the most common issue for most players is understanding and planning how to play a lane after champ select, knowing when, how, why, etc. to push or do whatever. General game sense, essentially. That knowledge with specific examples would be cool to go into. And then just to add to this, I think a section on game mental and specific mental to play AD carry would be nice. My gameplay improved massively when I learned to be an ADC and think as an ADC rather than just as a player. So yes, this is something that a lot of people do struggle with. What's really important, a lot of people will talk about this. If you ever get any coaching from anybody, they're going to talk about how once you see the enemy champions that are locked in, you need to come up with a game plan. So you need to know whether or not your champions are able to outpush the enemy champions. And by that, I mean, are you able to gain priority in the lane? So that way, in case your jungler were to come down, let's just say your jungler were to path to the bot side of the map, are you able to move from your lane at a moment's notice to go get dragon, to help him invade, to help get wards, etc.? Essentially, you being able to have first move before the enemy bot lane is you having priority. So if you're playing something like a Vayne Pike, you're not going to have priority into like anything, right? But if you're playing like Caitlyn Morgana, you're going to have priority on pretty much 85 to 90% of the laning lanes in the game. So you really need to just kind of know what matchup you're playing into and whether or not your champions will outpush their champions. And you just need to play off of that, essentially. Just come up with a game plan. Be like, oh, enemy team pushes more. Okay, then I'll just sit back. I'll just try and farm. Maybe you have a better skirmish, though. So whenever you're looking to fight, maybe you call your jungler down, ask for some ganks, and actually just try to get ahead that way. And then you have to kill them in order to get priority to go into dragon and different things like that. This is something I'll go more in depth on. I won't answer this entire question because this is extremely complex. So this would be something that I'll probably make a whole different video on, but that's kind of just a general summary. But this is something that I can make a whole video on for learning how to plan a whole laning phase out and really play a lane out. All right, next question. How would you play against non-traditional bot lane like Ziggs Veigar, Taliyah Pantheon, or even some kill lanes like Draven Pike? So kill lanes, I'll start with kill lanes. Kill lanes, you just don't want to fight them. You want to be extremely careful. It's right in the name, kill lane. That's all they want to do is just kill you. So all you need to do, just try and live. Just try and live through the lane. Try to stay within XP range. Try to get as much gold as you can. You're probably not going to be able to fight these guys at any point throughout the early game. Your best chance is just to get into the team fight phase where your champion will hopefully outshine the Draven and the Pike. So those ones, just take runes like Second Wind or Bone Plating and Revitalize if you have like an enchanter, so that way heals and shields are better on you, and then things like Doran's shield. Just try to survive. Just try to live through the Laven phase. Don't fight them. Taliyah Pantheon, very, very similar. Pantheon has extreme trading potential. Taliyah doesn't as much, but their combination together is what makes it really strong. Again, just try to farm. You're going to be more useful than both of these champions later on anyways, so just farm, live, don't fight them. Ziggs, Veigar, these ones you can fight. I would, again, recommend Doran's Shield, Second Wind, Revitalize for additional healing, additional sustain throughout the laning phase, so that way in case they are hitting you a lot, you're able to recover some of that HP. Ziggs and Veigar, though, they're very, very poor skirmishers. So if you're playing something like Jinx that can kind of match their range along with Caitlyn, or if you're playing something more aggressive and you have like a Pyke or a Thresh or a Pantheon or a Blitzcrank on your team, you can just pretty much kill these guys on repeat. They're extremely squishy. They're not mobile. Ziggs has a satchel charge, but it's still not like insane mobility. So Ziggs, Veigar, just kill those guys on repeat. That's all you need to do. Other two, don't fight them. All right, what do we got for the next one? What to do when your support keeps getting killed. This kind of goes in tail with like the Draven Pyke one. Just stay within XP range, get as much gold as you can. Don't fight them because you're going to lose. Chat, tell your support, hey, I don't think we're able to win a lot of these. Let's just stay back. Let's stay under tower. Let's try and farm. Or alternatively, ask your jungler for ganks, because if they keep killing your support, they're probably going to keep pushing you under tower. So it makes it a little bit easier for your jungler to gank. So ask for some assistance. There's not much you can do though, so just try and survive until hopefully you get to team fights where you can actually utilize your champion's potential. But yeah, just do your best to stay within XP range, get gold as much as you can, and don't die. Very importantly, don't die, because you lose so much gold and so much XP when you die, and you lose them to tower. You lose waves to tower. So just do your best not to die. I think a good question would be, should I roam as an ADC, and how do you deal with troll supports like Ashe, Misfortune, and Nivea? So should you roam as an AD carry? Usually not. There's very few situations where just straight up leaving lane is the correct move. You can roam as an AD carry if you know that you're able to get to mid lane and back before a wave crashes into your tower. So it's good against champions that have like single target damage and not a lot of wave clear. So an example of that would be like Vayne. You don't want to leave like an Ashe or like an Aphelios with like flamethrower, or like a Caitlyn in lane alone, right? They're gonna just insta shove the wave. So if you're able to get to mid and back before a wave is able to be crashed, sure, you can go for it. But more than likely, no. The majority of your roams should be up to Dragon to help your jungler, or to help your jungler invade, and that's the majority of it. Otherwise, you're probably going to want to stay in lane and try and do as much CSing as possible. How should you play when you have the early game advantage? I always find myself losing trades, even though I'm supposed to have the upper hand. For example, Caitlyn versus Vayne, I as Kate outrange and outdamage her early, yet I still lose the trade. So this would be something, this is more mechanical. Something that I would recommend that you have on, which you may or may not have on already, is show attack range, which I can actually show exactly where that's at in the client. So if you go into your settings and you go into interface and you scroll down, you see the show attack range here. Anytime that you click your attack move click, which is automatically bound to a click. So anytime that you click A, you'll be able to see a big circle indicator of how big your attack range actually is, which is very, very helpful, especially when you're playing things where you should be using your range advantage, right? So like Caitlyn has 100 additional range over Vayne, so you're able to get some really nice trades in. And Vayne, in order for her to actually trade properly with you, she has to tumble forward. And so then Caitlyn can just use her E and her Q for a very simple combo that does a lot of damage, but also is able to headshot. But then it gets you right back out of range, back to your max range again. So turn that on, use your A-click, and then I would recommend going into practice tool and just messing around with some of the dummies and figuring out exactly where Caitlyn's max range is, or other champions' max ranges, so that way you can better utilize your range advantage. Because when you do pull up that circle indicator, the range at which you can actually hit somebody is just on the outside of the circle. It's not within the circle. It's right on the outside. So if you're able to use your A-click to see that indicator there, turn that on, go mess with it. I guarantee that will help you out a lot. How do I improve my mechanics? So, whoa, this is again something very mechanical. Something that is really nice about um, practice tool is you can actually go in, you don't have to play against anybody, and you can just mess around, right? One thing, I know it's really cliche, but it actually helps a lot. Going into practice tool and just starting out with Doran's Blade or Longsword or whatever on whatever champion that you play. And then just last hitting, just CS for 10 minutes, see how much you can get. And in between killing CS, don't stop clicking. Just keep clicking around. Click your character back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like you guys have seen people stutter step, where you just click back and forth, and your champion just like kind of wiggles. Um, just do that in practice tool. Try to get good at it, and that will help with your mouse clicks, like your mouse accuracy, because you'll be clicking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then when a minion starts to get low, you'll have to then move your cursor from all of those rapid clicks back onto the minion to right click it in order to actually kill it properly or last hit it properly. So try to get good at that. Just do it for about 10 minutes for a laning phase. And if you want to do it again, just keep going. But do about 10 minutes, see how much CS you can get. Perfect CS, I believe, at 10 minutes is around like 120 CS. Don't be afraid, though, to just end up at like 60, right? It's the actual improvement that matters. So I would recommend trying that because that actually does help a lot in terms of your mouse mechanics. But then on top of that, also always practice your combos in practice tool on dummies because it really helps you just smooth out your mechanics. And it makes it so that way when you get into a game, you get less flustered and it becomes more of a muscle memory to perform those mechanics than it would be otherwise. So practice them on dummies so that way when you go into the game, you don't forget them and then mess it up. A struggle I imagine many of us have is how do we carry from the bot position when we don't get any kills and assists in lane because of multiple reasons, but we are slowly losing the game because of other lanes / jungle. It can often feel very overwhelming to influence the game in such situations, which leads to the feeling of I need to kill something now or we lose the game. So I fully understand that thought because I have definitely had that in the past and I still do have that occasionally. However, something that's very important to keep in the back of your mind is 3 waves of minions is more XP than a kill, and it's worth the same amount of gold. It's actually worth more gold than a kill. If you're properly CSing, you are able to rack up kills. Technically, you can get the gold amount of kills plus more XP rather than actually killing somebody. So instead of your mentality of I need to kill someone or we lose the game, maybe you should start to just look at the map, try to find out where you can acquire some additional CS and go try and get that because you're like, oh, this CS can actually get me the same amount of gold, if not more, plus more XP than a kill, all while being safer. So that's what I would recommend is think of it more. I should probably try to get CS somewhere because it's worth more than a kill. Hey guys, this is me filming just a little bit during editing. Um, I realized this video was going to get really long if I threw every single question in this video. So I'm just going to split this up into 2 parts so that way it doesn't end up being 25 minutes. I'll probably have a 13-minute and then like a 12-minute video or 13 and 10. I just didn't want this video to be super, super, super long because then, people don't want to watch a video that long usually without it being a full podcast, whatever. So, I'm going to split this up into 2 parts. So yeah, this was part 1. Thanks for watching. And part 2 will hopefully be out within a day or so. Peace.